and dressing.
Yes.
So what Elvis did, incorporated what he learned on Beale Street into his performance. The jumpsuit. You remember the jumpsuit?
I remember the jumpsuit.
You remember the shoes?
I remember the
shoes. You remember wearing all the diamond rings on your finger, and he learned how to croon. He learned everything there is about his performance from Beale Street and Pimps. Okay.
In fact, he said, do anything you want to do, but don't step on my blue suede shoes.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's Beale Street.
I went through it in. Keep
you threw in something important out here. So that's how vital and important Beale Street was in its heyday among Memphis and the African American people. Okay. The other thing about Beale Street is Beale Street was Memphis's African American Wall Street. Okay, the same fate that happened to Wall Street in the Black Wall Street in Texas.
You're talking Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma,
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Totally, yes. The same fate of the Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. Beale Street faced it. The exact same thing, but without the violence. It was destroyed. In fact, all of African Americans' economic and trade centers were destroyed. Okay, and the point is now gentrification. Right? We can include Beale Street and Cedric City.
Sure.
Okay, because now our heritage and history is owned by another ethnic group. We don't have control of. We have no control of Beale Street. We have no control of the Civil Rights Museum. We have no control, ownership of the Civil Rights Museum, the Stax Museum, nor the Claiborne Temple. All historic places of interest to our ethnicity. Okay, another ethnic group controlled it. Caucasian, Europeans, or whites, whatever you want to call them. Okay?
Well, tell us why.
Well, one of the reasons why is we don't hold what belongs to us as valuable enough to fight for, like other ethnic groups do. We tend to think that our contribution to things are not important. That it's going to fade away like we did the blues music. Okay? And like we do a host of things that we create and put into society. We step back thinking that it's not valuable. But the other ethnic groups monetize everything that we bring into existence. Beale Street today makes millions of dollars per year. The merchants on Beale Street make millions of dollars per year from what? African Americans' contribution to American music. They own it now. And what we won't do, we won't fight to get it back. Why? Because we can't transform what's happening today into the future. See, if we can conform, if we can put in our minds that Beale Street belongs to our children, we'll fight for it, but we can't see it.
Yes.
Okay. So what's happening is we're turning our backs on all of our historic significant places. We don't want to have anything to do with it because we don't have the vision. Other ethnic groups have vision. They will war and kill for what belongs to them. We won't do it. We'll let another ethnic group step in, claim ownership, monetize whatever belongs to us, and we will then participate. We will help them. We will go and buy tickets, and we'll do everything we can to make it successful. But we wouldn't do that when it was in our control and in our power. We are screwed in our minds. Okay, we have lost some humanity. See, humanity includes protecting what's yours, your culture. See, we have a culture, right? At least we think we do. But when you go into other ethnic communities across the United States, what do you see? You see those ethnic groups exploiting their culture. They are selling it. They're selling the clothes, they're selling the music, they're selling everything about their culture. When you come into the African American community, you find none of that. Okay? You don't find shops and businesses set up selling our culture to other people or to ourselves. We don't do it. You know what we do? We go to the other ethnic group and buy from them. Okay? So we're really gonna have to take time, all of us, across the United States, and assess who are we?
Sure.
What do we need to do?
Absolutely. And with regard to the question of why, Cedric, that one of the things about we must always understand why in terms of what is happening to a group of people such as ourselves. Now, Talut pointed out that there are many natural things about African Americans. And that sense is good because ethnic groups are different. They have their own mores, their own values, their things they are good in, things they're not so good in. And you're right, you see many people emulating African American music. Robin Thicke, for instance. You see many of them emulating or trying to emulate dance, that you see African Americans, all of this stuff just comes so natural. And we don't think much of it because it just grows out of us so naturally. You see? And so therefore, we must come to appreciate and value ourselves. I think in addition to what Talut said, it has to do with a lack of self-knowledge. I think by not paying attention, not participating, we allow other bad things to happen to us as well. Education, as I said before, the whole prison system. And I'll say this, Rachel Maddow, on her show, that show, said that racism is persistent in today's culture, American culture, prevalent and persistent. But I would say, Talut, that a lot of this stuff is subtle. It's done in such a way that you really have to be paying attention to see it. E.B. Du Bois said a long time ago, and here's the question, that the biggest problem of America is the problem of the color line. So the question is, what was he talking about? Question number one. Question number two, does this problem of the color line still exist today in 2019? And these are some of the things that we are looking at. And I'll say this, some of our problems are not as difficult as they may seem. We just have to participate, be engaged as a people. And here's the cliche, so question number three, Cedric. How does one engage in the activity? In other words, you've heard before, the burden is on those who know. And we talk about leadership a lot around here. Mm-hmm. So, go right ahead, sir.
No.
The burden is on those who know. And does the color line problem, as in so-called racism, exist today in 29? I forgot question one, but go ahead.
Well, the question on racism, it does live, and it lives in certain people. I mean, it is part of life today. It is going to be a part of life. We're always going to try to divide everybody. It's so popular to be competitive, and just being competitive about my language. My language is better than your language because I only use less words than you guys use, and this thing and that thing. And then you got the, well, my guy, my race plays baseball better than your race. You know, things like that. So there's always going to be some type of or form of what we can call racism. It doesn't have to be hate. And today it's a lot of hate-filled racism. We are going to have some type of camaraderie with our people, no matter who they are. And again, as we get down to our people, as in people of color or black people, African American, we're going to split up again because again we have to go back to those 54 countries of Africa, and to get us all on one page or one accord or one description is going to be impossible, and that fight goes on every day to try to categorize us as one this. This is the way you take care of African American people. No, it's, you know what I'm saying? That's never going to happen. Somebody in the north of Africa, the continent of Africa, is totally different from somebody from the west or the south and things such as that. NS is inbred in us. It's in our bloodline. It's in who we are, our genetic makeup. And just because you give it to us as a label is not going to change it, even if you're the same color as me. So, and then that second part was the, I forgot that last part that you said there.
Forget that.
What was it, Talut? No, well, I think it was, the burden is on those who know, which brings in the question of leadership.
And again, you know, the burden is on those who know. Our mayor right now has a burden to stand up to some accusations right now saying that he's a racist. I don't exactly know why they're calling him a racist personally, so I would like them to define that. You know, the young lady came in, Angela Rye,
yes,
and from out of wherever she is. I don't have anything against her, but she made a big, strong statement, and I haven't really saw the full breakdown. I mean, unpack that. You just don't leave with calling a mayor of a 70% black city racist and don't unpack it. So maybe they did somewhere, but I haven't seen it yet. But I would like to see that. And I hear Tammy Sawyer is also on that the same understanding for some reason. And I would like to hear her unpack those reasons. I'm talking about with truths and facts. Now, you know, it's a lot of things just to call somebody a racist just because they're white or just because they're yellow or green or whatever color. But unpack it, prove it to us. I mean, show us something that makes us know that he is racist other than he disagrees with us or disagrees with you.
And that's only fair. That's only fair. And she was on WKNO on a few days ago. And the commentary was quite non-specific. It was quite in general. You see, so yes, we need the specificity. We need the evidence along with the information of one's accusations. And that goes for me as well and the rest of us here on the Love Power Show. And also, W.W. Harrington was on the radio yesterday and someone mentioned the People's Convention. And he didn't quite like that so well. And that was quite interesting, I thought. And having said that, Talut, I think this is a good time to transition onto the update of the mayoral race today in 2019. Give us your update, Talut El-Amin.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to state my views on this mayoral contest.
Yes.
Actually, the race for mayor should be only between two individuals who should be known as the top contenders. And two of those candidates should totally be disqualified. Mayor Harrington should be totally disqualified, and Strickland should be totally disqualified. And it is true, Strickland does carry the characteristics of a racist. And the reason he does is because of how he handled complex situation that involves African American people. The way he handled those brothers and sisters who occupied the bridge, for an example. How he and his administration decided to blackball certain individuals, which forced the issue into court, prevented these individuals from having the guaranteed rights of the Constitution, simply because of their skin color. The other thing is, when the situation happened out there in Raleigh, where the young man was shot and killed by the marshals, this mayor took the strongest possible position against the people who were outraged at so many killings by police officers, and decided that they would have to come forward with force to stop it. Well, he took the hardest possible position that you could take, which is wrong, without having all the facts. Just skin color. We're going to stop them. And the other thing that he did is this, about the matter of Beale Street, and the Beale Street Bucks, and all that kind of garbage that we all know is racist. All African Americans know that the Beale Street Buck is designed to keep African Americans off the street. We all know that. This mayor, Strickland, he comes forward, he makes a statement like, we're going to have to accept the Beale Street Buck because statistics or the city council hired a statistician, a researcher, who came back with the information that when there is no Beale Street Buck, crime is high. When there is a Beale Street Buck, crime is lower. That's a dog whistle. See, that's that dog whistle. That's that racist dog whistle saying that African Americans are criminalized, and so therefore when you keep African Americans off the street, crime go down. When you let them come on the street, crime goes up. Okay, so the Beale Street Buck prevent African Americans from coming on the street and crime go down. And the question was posed to him, what do you say about that when people are saying that it's racist? This man says this, there are going to be people that's going to complain regardless of what you do. So that's that dog whistling. Okay. We're not going to, in other words, he's saying, we don't care what they say. We don't care how they feel. We're going to institute this Beale Street Buck, and they are not going to come on our street. See, that's that racist. See, it's subtle. You got to understand what that dog whistle is about. See, that dog whistle is about an undercurrent meaning. Okay? It's what is the meaning under what this man is saying. Okay? In other words, a dog can hear that on a different level than a human being can hear.
Yes,
okay,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, the decimals are different. But so the point of the matter is, Strickland is carrying himself in the characteristics of a racist. Okay? Now, when it comes to Mayor Harrington,
hold on before you go to Harrington.
Sure.
I get the part, Cedric, about the Beale Street Buck. I get that. I can see how that can be non-caring, non-compassionate. We don't care. I can see that part. I want to hear something on the, let me go to the how. How did he present himself a little more as a racist on the killing of Brandon Weber, I believe it was, in Frazier? Tell us a little more about how he presented himself as a racist, in that, a little more specificity, if you will.
Well, during his news conferences, he took the hardest possible position and used language that devalued the people who were in protest, devalued them even as human beings.
And did he also devalue Brandon Weber's life?
No, he did not say that. He did not. But he charged those individuals who were in protest as being basically thugs,
Okay.
like they always do when we
Okay.
protest something. They meaning a racist.
Okay.
Okay. So he's simply fitting into that box.
Okay.
Okay, and it's nothing. Now he can't explain himself out of it.
Okay.
Okay, he can't, because he and his administration has taken very hard line positions. Now, if you're a leader, you find a moderate position. And see, and you gotta understand that in every situation where African Americans respond, even if it's nonviolent or violent, the leaders, typically Caucasians, take the hardest possible position against them. So we may be sensitized to the point whereby we think it's okay.
Yes.
But it's not okay.
Okay.
Okay? Leadership requires the respect of all parties involved, okay, until all information is known. Then you set policy in place to prevent people from having to even respond like that, period. Okay? That's
Gotcha.
Leadership.
Got that part.
Yeah, yes.
How did you want to make one more comment?
No.
Now the other part of this. How did Strickland treat the gatherers of the organizing of the bridge?
Yes.
That made
very
him,
important.
Very important.
Very
that
important.
made him hateful. Let's say hateful.
And
Go right
vindictive.
ahead, sir.
And vindictive.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the occupying of the bridge was a protest. Okay? Now, throughout the annals of history in the United States, protests have been important.
Yes.
Okay? The Tea Party was a protest.
Mm-hmm.
That started the revolution. They just threw the tea out of the sea, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was violent.
Mm-hmm.
That was the worst, one of the most violent things that happened during that day, other than the war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the burning of a caricature of Obama in front of the White House by the Tea Party members of his era was violent. Okay? So the protest of the bridge, which was non-violent, but an occupation, briefly, stopped the traffic. This administration and this mayor decided that it was important to put individuals under surveillance, okay, and blackball them, where individuals couldn't even apply for a job. Their name would come up on a list. You understand? A list. Okay? That's the hardest possible cruelty that you can do to an individual. You drag an individual's name down to a blacklist. That's cruel, that's inhumane, and that's unconstitutional. A person become aware that they can't get a job because of a protest. And this mayor and his administration was found to be in violation of a law. Okay? Was a consent decree. A consent decree.
All right. Yes.
Okay? Which is law. And was found guilty of violating that and had to pull back the whole operation.
Okay.
Why? Why? Because the people involved happen to be African Americans.
Got it. And now, Harrington.
Harrington is disqualified. Okay? Harrington is disqualified on a number of reasons. Number one, he resigned the office of mayor. He resigned. In other words, he was mayor. The people entrusted their vote into his leadership. His last term, he resigned in the middle of the term. That trust, he betrayed that trust. Okay? He slammed the people's will because the people entrusted him to lead and to bring change. He disregarded those people.
Why did he resign?
I don't know.
Okay.
He resigned. Okay. That's what's important.
Okay.
Okay. He resigned.
But it would be good if we knew and we could.
Well, he never told anybody why he resigned. He
but we might find some good stuff in there.
Probably. But the point of the matter is,
excuse me.
He won 3-4 terms, right?
Yes.
The last term, he threw out the towel. Okay, I'm not gonna be married again. So why would we go back and vote for somebody in office who quit? You know, without notice, I'm quitting. Walk off the job. You're gonna rehire them again? Some nuts will. Okay, they'll be insane and crazy to do it, but there are some insane and crazy people. And the next thing is, he has no loyalty to the common people. It was the common people through the original People's Convention that harnessed the power, the vision, and the foresight that brought change into Memphis and got rid of that old runoff crap that always guaranteed a Caucasian to win the mayorship. The people did that. And then what the people did, they set up a process that allowed someone to honestly be selected. Powerful process. Harrington was sincerely and honestly selected to run for mayor. He betrayed that. How did he betray it? When he before he took the inauguration of the mayor's office, he took over $200,000 from somebody.
Well, according to Wes Mitchell's book, it was $250,000
Yes.
That he received and accepted, and I believe there was some of the big namers involved in that process as well. But that's documented.
It's documented. I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm giving you facts.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he took the $250,000. Okay. Then he changed the aura of the historic era.
Well, let me interject this. Okay. According to the book, he was bought and paid for from that point.
Exactly. That's my point. I'm getting to that.
Go ahead.
Then he started appointing individuals of the status quo to run various departments of government. Okay? And then his attitude completely changed, and he blocked the People's Convention. See, anytime members of the People's Convention that organize and group, anytime a significant power arises from the common people, your job as a leader would be to pick individuals out of that power to place in positions of authority. This is how you pay the people back. See, the People's Convention was about the people. So you need to pay the people back by giving someone some position that the people could say, yes, this mayor is honorable, he's respectable. But instead, Mayor Harrington turned his back on the People's Convention and its leaders.
Okay.
Would not give them access to him, would not give them access to the office, would not give them anything, not one single thing, and for decades, for years and years and years, he did that until the original People's Convention was driven into the ground.
And you posted earlier, and I've asked you this question before, and I ask you again. You posted that he viewed the People's Convention as insignificant.
Insignificant, absolutely.
So you're saying that here and now?
Yes.
That W.W. Harrington viewed the People's Convention, which got him elected, as insignificant.
Insignificant.
And so, are you saying that he played the major role in abolishing the People's Convention?
Yes, he did. And you have never heard him say a single thing about the historic significance of the People's Convention. He would not say it, okay, because he rendered them as insignificant. Okay, now, the other thing that Harrington did during all those years in government, he did not see the economic empowerment of African Americans as significant. But he did see the economic empowerment of the quote-unquote white boys significant. Okay? He did everything that he possibly could to make sure that they were fed, clothed, and sheltered off of taxpayers' money.
Okay.
Okay, so, and that's not all. Harrington had some serious moral issues that arise during his administrations. Okay, he was not squeaky clean.
Okay.
Okay, and now I don't know. I'm not going to tell you the details of any of that, but he had moral issues that he should have addressed and taken care of.
Okay.
But he did not.
Okay.
Okay, so Harrington and Strickland both are disqualified. Now, who are the qualified individuals? The top two qualified individuals, that would be Stephen Bradley and
Tammy Sawyer.
Now, they are the legitimate. If we're going to vote for a mayor, we need to vote for one or the other of those individuals. Now, there are other people in the race.
Right, I want to ask you about them.
The top two people.
Okay.
Okay, the front runner. See, them other ones, we're just going to say they're disqualified. They shouldn't even be in the race.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that political campaigns are often won during the last 2 weeks of a campaign.
Yes.
So I want to
the last week.
the last week actually.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, what if there's still time for another candidate to emerge, or another two, etc.? Highly unlikely, but what if someone springs out?
Yes.
Someone is planning and said, we're going to spring out and we have this much money, because the more money you have in conjunction with your charisma, your knowledge, etc., the better chance you have of winning.
Yes.
So there altogether is about 9 or 10 people running.
Sure.
For instance, Harrington and Strickland eliminated.
Yes.
You put the top two contenders to be Bradley and Sawyer.
Right.
So that leaves about 4 or 5 more.
Right.
So if more, 1 or 2 or 3 emerged, what would be your position?
Well, if some of the lower ranking candidates, elevate,
Yes.
then we have to acknowledge them.
Okay.
See, we can't disqualify. Now, if they have a history similar to Harrington and Strickland, then we can eliminate them.
Okay.
Okay. But if not, they are in the race.
Okay.
They just come up to a higher level.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, today, I only see Sawyer and Bradley as top contenders today. Okay. Now, that's pretty important.
Okay.
Okay. That's important based on the fact of how the two mayors were and are eliminated. How they eliminated themselves. Okay. To the point whereby we shouldn't even consider them. We shouldn't even consider them for a vote.
Okay.
We should we as a people.
We as a people.
Right.
If there were a vote today, which of the 2 top contenders would be your pick and why?
I'm not going to state that right now.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I'm disqualified people.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not going to state. I'm on the disqualified mode right now.
Okay.
So then, later on, maybe in the next 2 weeks or so, we'll come out with that firepower.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Cedric.
Yeah, I think that right now, if you had to just choose between those two, because I agree that the two big dogs in the race, and no pun intended on calling anybody out of their name, but the 2 big dogs in the race, I don't think that they should be considered as mayor. Harrington had a long time to prove who he could be and should be at a time that we had some power. You know, we had a lot more power back then. So I'm not happy with what I have read and experienced. You know, I know a little bit more about that era myself, you know, because of my relationship here in Memphis, his particular administration, and I'm not really happy about that one as the new one to go with. But then the Strickland is clearly, you know, not to be a choice with all these possible good choices that we have now. And when you look at the two left that we're talking about, the Bradley and Tammy Sawyer, and again, I don't want to go against anybody hard because I love the fact that the young folks are engaged. But, you know, you have to go by people's report card. And right now, I would hate to be a person living in the, what is that, the commissioner, what is hers?
County commission.
What do you call it? Yeah, that county that Tammy Sawyer is representing. Because she's MIA, clearly, because we know exactly where she is. She's running a race for mayor. That is unfair to the people of that district right now. She has been on this campaign for a very long time, longer than just about any other candidate out here. You know, Jim Strickland, you have to give him a little bit of respect for the fact that he's been at work every day, it seems. You know, at least he's been in his office. We know that he hasn't been out here on the campaign trail. But, you know, to just abandon your post at a time as crucial as this, especially all of the different things that we need in our communities right now. We went through a whole winter where, you know, people were being put out of their houses and power turned off and things like that. And we saw Ms. Sawyer out there on the campaign trail, you know, doing her thing. So again, not putting her down, I know, you know, that's what it takes, but no, not at this time. So you would have to only go by the report card. If I were in office, what would I do? Well, you're in office and we see what you would do, and that's not a good thing right now.
That's a good point. You're in office and we have seen and are seeing what you're doing right now. Now, real quick, I want to go back to Talut. Do you call that overly ambitious or plain greedy?
And I think it's a little bit of both of those two there. And, you know, because what would we do now if you become mayor? Are you about to run for Congress? I mean, are you running for president? I mean, what is your goal here? Are you going to ever represent the people? Because that was a big campaign. There was a lot of work put into her campaign to get her in that commissioner's seat. I mean, I even helped myself because she was the best person for the job, I thought, and I would like to see her get it. But then it's like you got your last breath and finally got her in the seat, and then she took off running somewhere else. It's like, where'd she go?
You know,
come on, Talut.
It actually sounds like Cedric is saying that maybe she should just step out and just bag Bradley. That's what it sounds like.
Is that what you're saying, Cedric?
No, I'm just saying it sounds like.
Oh,
I'm not saying he said.
To me,
it sounds like.
You can only get one mayor out of this whole race.
Right.
Tammy already has a job. And it's not on, I mean, you know, the county and the city is night and day. These are two different animals altogether. Right. So she hasn't really learned the county job. You haven't been there long enough, and you haven't exercised it enough to know that job. Go ahead and get tight in there, you know, work on that side. You and Bradley could possibly handle this thing as millennials from one side to the other. Now, the rest of these people in there, man, I love that Brother Terrence Boyce and the other young brothers. I mean, they don't seem to be qualified to be mayor. I love their enthusiasm for coming out, and they really running a hard race. They're really trying to do something, but I believe that they should be in the cabinet somewhere of the mayor. Sure. I think that they have a real
give that experience.
Yeah, I think they have a real passion for what it is that they do. But you know, when you jump in there from just straight off the street trying to handle $1 billion budgets and things like that, you know, and never really handled $1 million budget. You know what I'm saying? It's a little hard to put you in there for right away.
But that's why on Facebook this morning I posted a series of posts dealing with the professional politician. See, Strickland, Harrington, and Sawyer are professionals. Okay, I think we need for a change in our city someone who doesn't fit that characteristic. You know, someone is down to earth, okay, that doesn't have all these professional relationships in government and in business, and everybody in these rich people are all sitting back waiting on their chance to get another big golden meal. Okay, see, so this particular time in our history in this city, we don't need another professional, because professionals are primarily interested in the rich. That's where they get their money from. They're professional. See, a professional politician is a professional fundraiser. Okay, right. That person is a professional money getter. In other words, okay, a non-professional gonna be scrapping. They're gonna have to come to the little guy, okay, and ask that little guy for the money. Okay. Okay, they're gonna have to ask that little guy, hey, could you give me $5, man? Could you put $2 in my campaign? Okay, then that clearly distinguishes between the professional who gets the money from the rich people. Okay. When the rich people writing $50,000, $100,000 checks to this individual, like this mayor has $700,000 in his war chest for mayor. Okay. $700,000 to be the mayor of Memphis, and the salary is what? So it's got to be a rich man's game. Okay. Okay. So my last point is the grassroots non-professional candidate, meaning again that this particular candidate, Bradley and some of the others, do not have that fundraising expertise or the relationship with the rich people to get the money. They have to do a coup d'etat. They got to come to the common, everyday people out on the street to get enough money to buy signs and ad and this type of thing.
And having said that, that calls for and depends upon, Cedric, the kind of people that a candidate would have around them. We saw on a national scale, we saw Ilhan Omar, Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Cortez, can't call her last name.
Doing good.
Yeah, and the third, there was about 4 of them. One, squad. They took down, the squad. They took down the big professional politicians, as Talut put it. Let's take a look at Stephen Bradley's report card. Go ahead, Cedric.
Well, his report card is it's clean right now. He hasn't really been in politics, so we're just.
Let me say this real quick. I've got it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
He got it. He got it.
Bothers me.
There we go.
It bothers me when I don't get something right.
Yes, sir.
Go right. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, you know, the good part about his report card that I see is that it's clean. I say that it's clean because he hasn't been in the political arena. You know, once you get in the political arena and you start understanding the game of politics, you know, you stop really being effective. That's why I like these new ones that jump in there, because they don't know anything about all of this. They don't know about all of these deals you can make once you get in there. They're not really focused on all these lobbyists and how I can acquire land and how I can get a new position as I go on. They're eager about accomplishing the task that's set before them. Yeah. After those first 4 years in, or whatever it is, you know, and they've been beat up a little bit, that second 4 years is never as effective normally as that first 4 years. And anything after that, as we saw in the administration with Harrington, is just he's in office. So, you know, we need that new blood, that new breed, that new breath of life in there. And I'm telling you, he's on fire everywhere we go. I mean, he's out there. He's pushing hard, and he's not. You know, what he's told us is that he's not interested in the corporate dollars. He's going to run a grassroots campaign. He keeps saying that word over and over, and he keeps talking about dealing with the people of the streets. You know, because when you look at those campaigns, there's $700,000 in the campaign budget right now for Strickland. And let's remember his last campaign. He won with what, 56,000 votes or something like that? So I'm just saying, you know, you put out almost $1 million in order to get 56,000 votes. Bradley, he's been saying, and he believes that if he goes out and talks to the people, that he would get much more than that. He doesn't need all those dollars. He said those are employees of the corporations that are voting.
All right. Now we are forgetting about the splitting the vote factor. Well, not forgetting about it, but it is a factor in terms of a consensus candidate. And let's take a look at also voter apathy. I think that the winning candidate, as we're talking about, has to bring in those elements, you know, as just based on history and what we've seen in the past, Talut. And so when a candidate is running, such as this that we're talking about, the word representation, they seem to, once they get in office, they seem to forget that they are there to represent the people. They seem to, as you said, Talut, represent the big money donors and represent themselves. So does Bradley fit in the category of being able to rally the splitting the vote element? Does he fit in the category of speaking to the voter apathy? And at the base of his campaign would be grassroots. Those are three questions right there. I'd like to hear what the both of you have to say about that. Starting with you. You want to go, let Talut go first?
It doesn't matter.
Well, let me go to you and then to Talut.
Yeah.
Go right ahead, Cedric.
Well, I think as far as splitting the vote is concerned, we're always going to be splitting the vote. That's a part of the competition.
Okay.
And the more people you have at the table, that's what's going to happen. At the end of the day, the majority wins. So the splitting of the vote, as I keep hearing it here in Memphis, it's like everybody is focused on getting Strickland out. I don't think that Strickland is the worst at the table. He is not a good one at the table, but it's not just about Strickland. It's about getting the right person in the office. So when we talk about vote splitting, we're way a little too early for that. Usually people start falling into place closer to election time when they see that they are not able to make it into that position. They at least want to be in the vote. So, you know, the mayor is not the only one who gets $100,000+ salaries a year, and it's not only about salary, but I'm just saying as far as that level of stature, you know, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of salaries, there's a lot of jobs, there's a lot of people that actually run the mayor's office. So some people, I think, will be respectful and humble enough and really serious about getting the city back on its feet and getting it to where it needs to get to, and they wouldn't mind actually just being some force behind a certain position. You know, we need somebody who's going to be really focused on environmental, somebody who's really directly focused on education, you know, somebody who's really focused, you know, so we've got to build a cabinet. And I think, you know, we should be working towards that now as we get closer to the finish line.
Okay, and Talut, your perspective, but I want to get close to the end and say something about hungry and compassionate to represent the people and make the city of Memphis a better place to live and to upgrade, especially North Memphis, North and South Memphis as well. Talut, go right ahead.
Well, when you think about strategy,
yes,
okay, you have to think about the person who has the most money.
Sure.
Okay. Now, the person who has the most money would benefit from the lowest possible turnout. Okay, that's the strategy for the two big guys. Okay, the lower the turnout, the better chance one of the two would have to win. Okay, meaning voters' apathy is their cup of tea. They don't want African American people to hit the poll. They don't want it. Now, a heavy turnout would benefit the real contenders. okay, whom we are saying, at least I'm saying, is Bradley and Sawyer. Okay? Now, splitting the vote, I agree with Cedric on splitting the vote. The guys with the biggest money always pay somebody to get in a race. It's part of the strategy of apathy. You know, it's voters, determining the voters. You know, it's causing the voters to look this way while they harness a few votes over here, so to speak. Okay? So, but this is what could happen in this particular election. There could be some excitement, okay? If one of the candidates, Bradley or Sawyer, can generate some excitement, okay, then we can have a new mayor. We can have a down-to-earth, non-professional mayor in office, okay? Now, I agree with Cedric on Sawyer being a professional politician, and so I agree, Cedric, is that's the characteristic of a professional politician. They assess the terrain, regardless of what they have in their hand. You know, they take they disregard the eggs in the basket. They go for what's greener on the other side. So a professional politician has ambition. They want to be bigger or better, and they'll do anything to get that. Anything, literally anything to get that. Okay, so if Bradley, you know, in agreeing with you, Cedric, can generate some excitement, because the top people don't want the excitement. They don't want it. They're going to pay. They're going to spend money, Wally, to prevent the excitement from happening.
Okay, we're short on time. We have 5, 6, 7, right at 8 minutes left. Let's close out like this. Now, Talut's Cedric analysis sounds a bit perplexing, and I will say that it leans more to her being closer to giving way to Stephen Bradley, because the analysis pointed out the aspiration to be ambitious, and you said it was a combination of the two, a little greedy and a little ambition, a little overly ambitious, etc. And so looking at those two report cards, and I will say that's a limited look. It's a limited look, but it puts the needle more toward Bradley at this point. That's my assessment of Talut's analysis, which is correct. It's politically correct based on his knowledge and his experience. But let's close out. We've got 5 minutes. I want to hear something about the People's Convention, because it's a good time to get ready to talk about the fundamentals of organizing, which we will get started with that next week. And also we're going to be talking about helping African Americans begin to own more homes. That's something we've talked about here, Cedric. And begin to build wealth. So we've got a tough job lying ahead of us, and every journey begins with the first step. And so,
that's right.
So we've been taking steps.
Yes, sir.
We'll take more steps.
Yes, sir.
How's that?
Yes,
and
sir.
so the historic People's Convention, I was there as a vendor. I know some of the people who participated. Talut was one, and Dale Gill. I know it was historical, and one of my questions has always been, and the burden is on those who know, and it's also on those who have the idea, and that one should participate or at least take the reins of leadership. So I'm pointing the finger back at myself. Now, but tell us about the People's Convention. And Talut, why did someone not pick up the reins and bring that thing back into focus?
Well, it's complex.
Yes.
And we typically follow leadership. And so when Harrington did not acknowledge the People's Convention after he was inaugurated, then that kills the spirit in the people. Okay, now I'm going to say this. One of the reasons why, and I'm clear about what I'm saying. One of the reasons why I disqualify Harrington, another reason, pardon me, is because I'm the one that opened up the original historic People's Convention in prayer. I prayed for the selected one to win, to become the mayor. I prayed that. So let me tell you this. So therefore, I'm qualified. I'm qualified to come against Harrington. I'm qualified to come against him in a magnificent way. And I would not relent because he betrayed the people. Now, and betrayed the organization. And I knew those people in that organization. They were very fine people. They were very, very good people. They had good hearts and they were sincere. And they plotted the course for this city. They plotted a course for this city to move forward. And this man who became a fake mayor. See, he was a fake mayor because we did not benefit from his election. We did not benefit from him being in office. He pointed us to things like housing. So the People's Convention is a vital organization, even the one that was done lately. Okay? We're not disqualifying that organization. I'm simply saying that People's Convention did not reach the standard and the quality of the historic convention. Next time they do it, they should reach out further to at least get to the level of quality of the first one. Okay? The People's Convention has to come into existence and has to stay forever.
Now, you're saying that as opposed to representing the people, African Americans, in Memphis, he betrayed their trust. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely,
and so,
no question about it.
Right, and so Dale Gill played a major role in pulling that together.
Yes.
And one last thing, and then we're going to get ready to get out of here, that the African American vendors, Talut, of which you've done quite a bit of it yourself, we've done some together. That group died during the Harrington administration. I mean, truth is truth.
Very unfortunate.
And when you compare Atlanta to Memphis, you see quite a different picture, quite a different scene. Is that right, Cedric? And while we're doing that, let's have some final thoughts. We've got 2 minutes left. Final thoughts starting with you, Cedric. Building off of that statement.
Yeah, I would just say that just to cap it off real quick, the new, well, the 2019 People's Convention, I think was a good idea. I think it was a good work of the young people.
Did it fall short?
Well, we would have to find out what we mean by that, because the original People's Convention was organic. I mean, there was a need for it. There was a wave that was already going. The people were already trying to put the first black mayor in place. So that, you know, it was just how at that point. This one was what do you call it? A relic.
Okay.
Okay. You know, it was going to be like.
Right. And while we're going into organization,
yes, sir.
Should all organizations, including the People's Convention, have a set of goals and objectives?
Yes, and they did have a set of goals and objectives. I'm just that I did see. I'm just saying that the collective wasn't there. I'm talking about the
right.
And the old.
And was it designed to reach the people? Is the major question. We've got
again. I didn't see the whole design. I don't want to speak on the actual design of it.
All right.
I just know that it definitely didn't do what I heard that the first one did. And but again, not putting it down, I think that we need to make it better. And we need to work with that whole team and get to make it expand better. That was an excellent idea, and I think we still need to do it. And it can get better.
All right, I want to thank both of you all for being here and for joining the Love Power Show. And can I hear a little bit of Willie Hutch before we go? Ooh. Is it too late? Is this yours? Is your charge? Pass that to me, man. Pass me that 60.
Oh.
Hey, how you doing? You get your red, black, and green on.
He ain't play no Willie Hutch.
That's okay.
They need Willie Hutch too.
All right, all right. Good show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Real good show. I always talk about them going out there.